start. We're going to start with Carrie Trautman. Carrie is a lifelong Ohioan whose work has appeared in numerous anthologies and journals. She has led workshops in schools from preschool through university level, as well as at literary events such as Bowling Green State University's Winter Wheat Festival of Writing and a National Federation of State Poetry Society's annual conference. Carrie is a theater lover, and in 2025, her one-act play, Mass, received a staged reading as a winner of the Toledo Repertoire Theater's Toledo Voices competition. Her latest poetry collection, Things to Say When You Have Nothing to Say, is available now from Roadside Press. Her 10th book, Days of Bees, is forthcoming from Dancing Girl Press this summer, and we'll put the link up. Judy probably has already put the link in the chat. And with that, I give you Carrie. Carrie?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So I wanted to focus, I was trying to choose sort of a theme or, what to choose from the book. And I was kind of focusing on little moments of memory. So little times when I wrote something down because of a little incident or a person that I cared about that kind of lived now in more, an immortality in a poem, that it kind of made me wonder if that's ever happened on the other side, if anyone ever just saw me walk by on the street and ended up writing something, or these little things that we pick up on as writers that are just little small moments that now live forever in these little writings. So those are kind of what I'm going to read today. So this first one is for a friend whose birthday would have been earlier this month. She has since passed away, but this is Eulogy for a Living Poet. You are so easy to love and so hard to withstand. Your body forever slumped in public bathroom stalls, cracked and coughed with blood wine eyes. Yet in your laughing moments, you revel. Breathe through your pen words we taste for days, words birthed of violins, words for weaving negligées, to remind us you are here still, like grapes which must first be crushed before relinquishing wine. Thinking of you, not thinking of me. You're probably on a plaid couch, blue TV light splashed in your eyes, beer in hand, or maybe a notebook and pen. Probably on the phone with a girl who wears spandex for you and phone sex whispers just to hear your grin. You're maybe standing, unaware of the bend of your elbow, tilt of hip, maybe sleeping, dreaming of something evergreen. Mountains. Or not worrying, I'm scared of heights, or dreaming of fist fighting some guy who cut you off on the highway, not remembering what kind of car I drive, filling the small hours of your night with visions of anything but my laugh or my hair and how it shimmers auburn in full sun. This is called Experimentalist. He used in the sack in a poem, and he meant it. There should be a salt shaker in every garden to sprinkle warm, yanked tomatoes. I watch the orange wedge make a home for itself between his lips and teeth, pulse to his gums, sweet. He writes erotic poetry like salting his eggs without first tasting. His voice itself reminds my nose of Frisia, my shoulders of sunlight, my toes of low tide, my tongue of August pears, my stomach of warm milk, my eyelids of half moons of wine. Every time I buy a grocery tomato, it refuses to taste like July. Disappointing, like an overly dry kiss, a sunset with no red at all. His poems are fluorescent light, blue distortion of color. I want to swallow the last swallow of warmed red wine in his glass because of what lingers there besides the wine. I tried a yellow cherry once. It didn't taste like a red one, but it was good anyway. Washing. 2 cantaloupes in the kitchen sink, wetted and soaped them up the way the cook at my first waitressing job showed me, saying, Yeah, I know no one's eating the rinds, but I'm not putting those dirty things on my clean cutting board. So into the sink, like my babies, when stooping over the bathtub hurt my back, my knees, cramped with the gentlest firm grip on their lathered skins. So into the sink instead, with sun through the western window and the yard beyond and what grows there. Gary, St. Martin's High, class of 1963. Mom showed me Gary's photo in the newspaper, an article about recycling. She looked at it closely and for far too long. Said she hadn't realized he'd moved to Elmwood 5 years prior. 15 minutes away, she said, and I saw her thinking, 10 if you make all the lights. She pointed. His beard used to end here, and her fingernail traced his jawline, lingered at the cheek. The beard was clean and even, unlike my father's mustache, frazzled like frozen tentacles, as if it would scratch if they ever kissed. One time, Gary said, we were working on yearbook committee, and Gary said I was, she began, as if unsure of whether to finish, as if the sentence was doomed to be a waste of words. Forget me not. It was fair of you to worry I would forget your birthday. The crabgrass has overgrown my tomatoes. Digging in my purse and not finding a pen and paper for new lines is like hopping out of the car at the grocery and realizing my purse is at home. I hear the garden soil calling through the kitchen wall, and I am off balance. My muscles are edgy and weakened from 3 days without making a poem. The neighbor's cucumbers have penetrated the fence between us. My daughter spins, drops herself into the carpet, says it's hot lava because she is off balance. I remembered I had planted seeds for the Japanese forget-me-nots only when they bloomed, blue, alongside the coreopsis. Something's bound to burn when next I fall. Fort Lauderdale vacation, January. I got to get a Florida poem in here. A group of new friends ambles down a state park path. We won't be here for long. Birds call from branches. A toddler speaks in Danish. Someone is there, the blonde blue mother translates. I hear voices in the bush. I want to see an iguana, so I turn at every branch crack and rustle. Back in Ohio, reptiles aren't so dinosaurish. A lyric from the last 5 years runs through my head. In Central Park near the museum, singing, "Can we see the dinosaurs?" A pair of blue jays bickers. We have the same arguments back at home. A friend's neighborhood near here is full of peacocks, blocking drives, sunning on roofs. The next morning, I read at a table outside the hotel office. Workers hello as they heave trash and unload trucks. A group of old folks meets for taxis to a sightseeing cruise. We move about these unfamiliar places in whichever way suits us, knowing it's temporary. If I turn my chair toward the rising sun, it will startle the gray catbirds chittering in the saw palms. If the blonde blue toddler were here, he would know exactly what they chirp to each other, and he would tell his mother, and maybe she would tell me. I won't be here much longer. I still haven't seen an iguana up close, just from our hotel window, slinking the edge of the pool like considering laps. White folks settled Florida before Ohio. Prehistoric bones unearthed in both, but no dinosaurs. Birds are older than dinos, right? My bones won't be unearthed because I prefer ash, which is earth, and no one can translate what it has to say. If somehow I have to remain intact and buried, tuck me in an unmarked hole positioned unexpectedly, in an arabesque or crow pose. Maybe add a couple iguanas, so in 1,000 years if someone finds my bones, they'll wonder at the meanings. Or quilt me in Floridian and Ohioan feathers, glossy ibis, snow goose, pelican, morning warbler, so no one can know just what bird I might have been. And this is my last one that I'm going to read from this book. It's called Imagining Myself Alone. He calls it a new poem dealing with old stuff, and I know it will be another about his wife, 5 years dead. I imagine myself alone, wandering in rainstorms just to feel heavy with wet clothes, as if the pressure of hands, the weight of down comforters on cold November Sunday mornings. Myself alone, drinking wine on the front porch, Merlot because you liked it, listening for bicycles, thunder, alone, tearing up poems as fast as I can write, leaving the pieces in the wastebasket for weeks, retrieving them, fitting them together with scotch tape, reciting them to the bedroom walls to pretend to remember what passion sounds like resonating on plaster and paint. So I wanted to read a couple of newer ones. This one is in an anthology called Ice. It's called Ice Out by Moonstone Arts Press. So this is called Protest. Cracking eggs for dinner, I wonder which of my poems my friends would share online if an ice goon shot me in the face while my red vote neighbors looked away. I sip enough wine to loosen my terrified brains, but not so much that I can't still cook dinner. Which stanza might catch hold, genius in hindsight, after I'll never write another line? Posted and reposted, clicked with sad face emojis. I exercise for the endorphins, drink for the semi-forgetting, avoid writing to avoid thinking. I wonder which lines from my poems other folks might dig up to justify why it's just fine I was murdered. Since Dustin Brookshire is here, if he's still here, I have to read a couple Barbie poems, so I'll end with these two. This first one is called Boneless Barbie. Again, Barbie woke to seagull cries outside her waterless cornfield flatlands window. Ken gone for hours, but who knows where, hair slicked, blue pinstripe suit. Barbie suspects he just drives the pink Corvette in circles. Years ago in science class, Barbie labeled a skeleton diagram, scapula, radius, phalanges, knowing she would never have bones. Instead, any strength comes from her outside. Waking to the gulls, Barbie thought they were crying over a dying thing, like the dead baby bunny in her childhood yard, tiny bones like used toothpicks piled on a cocktail party table. In the dream kitchen, Barbie poured a mug from Ken's leftover coffee pot, heated it in the microwave, added sugar and cream. Ken took it bitter, black as bone marrow. She wondered what swallowing feels like with a mandible to clamp shut, how heavy a head must feel with need for a skull. At Tracy's wedding, Ken released a cage of doves outside the church, fluttering against blue sky and away toward their trainer up the block, except one, smacked like a wiffle ball against a Mazda windshield. Barbie scooped it from the curb in the lilac hem of her bridesmaid's gown, its white body a velvet sachet of matchsticks. She buried it with her hands in a potted bird of paradise on the church steps. She didn't know any prayer. On her science class diagram, vertebrae chain linked from brain to ass, shielding the spinal cord, electric wire powering its sketched body. Maybe if she had a spine, she could curl fetal in bed or bend a backward dip over Ken's arm when they danced. Maybe she could trust him to hold her up. The seagulls only cried when she first awoke. She thrust up the window sash with the hollow L's of her arms, but outside were just robins in the grass and a black cat stalking. When Ken came home, she asked if he saw seagulls or open water, and that somehow she didn't know about. He patted her head, squeezed a grapefruit, mixed them palomas, and she wondered how she could ever have any wings inside her without a birdcage of ribs. So this is my last one. It's called Barbie's Pretty Sure She's Going to Hell. And it's one where the title wraps into the first line. So Barbie's pretty sure she's going to hell because she keeps masturbating to photos of Malibu Ken even now that he's announced he has cancer. And because the pretty turquoise poison pellets she sprinkled for mice below in the dream house crawl space killed a Cooper's hawk who ate a toxic mouse. Barbie isn't Catholic, but she knows from TV she's supposed to feel shame for lustful thoughts, for imagining rocker Ken up in his house on the hill watching her float naked in the dream pool, belly up, arms wide like a candelabra. The photos are old, she tells herself. The cancer wasn't yet in the photos. She drives to Venice Beach to watch Sunset Sensation Barbie unsnap the back of her gold bikini top and sink her tits into her beach towel, to watch muscle men do handstand push ups in the sand, to watch the wind blow Wet n Wild Barbie's long hair around her bared hips. Yes, she once poured used paint down the storm sewer after painting the mailbox Strawberry Splash. And yes, she pays a man to spray her lawn with chemicals to green and weed kill. And when she pulls the Corvette into the driveway, her house gleams white and pink and perfect, plunked into a flawless rose-bushed lawn, and she declares it good, despite what she's learned of greed. The hawk might have died anyway, from an ocean view window or wildfire. She couldn't tolerate the sounds scurrying underneath in the night. Sundays, she finds churches with ministers to feed her sips of wine that she can't raise to her own mouth, as if its bitterness can disinfect her insides, can quench her endless wants and her fears of them. That's it for me, folks. Thank you very
Wow.
much.
Carrie, thank
Thank
you. The chat is open, so now's the time to let Carrie know how much you enjoyed her reading. And lovely, Carrie, and lyrical and moving, wonderful poems. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for featuring for us again. Yeah. All right. So we'll move on to
Well done, Carrie. Thank you.
Mike Jurkovic. Mike is the 2025 to 2027 Ulster County Poet Laureate. He has published globally. Uh, little reported income. His collections, Circling Plains Bushwhack Books 2026, Buckshot Reckoning, Mooncussers, American Mental, Lucador Press 23, 22, and 20, respectively. Haiku Collections, Monet's Bamboo Caps Press 2025, Blue Fan Whirring, Nirala Press 2018, 2016 Pushcart nominee, President Calling All Poets series. He's the co-chair of the Music Fan Film Series, Rosendale Theater, Rosendale, New York. He does CD reviews online, all about jazz, and lightwoodpress.com. He's the host of New Jazz Excursions Mondays, and I think we can put this in the chat, 9 to 11 a.m. At Vassar College. He loves Emily most of all. And with that, I give you Mike.
Thank you, Susanna. Thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight. Carrie, thanks a lot. That was wonderful. Mediums and mystics and madmen all decked out in a wild dance around the fire at the Cafe Adversity. Flim, flam, fraud and failure have run out on their tab. And Barney, the old bailiff, he'll have another beer. Hey! It's the Lord of Mentor Street sitting with the seer as another virgin liberal in a clashing suit and tie cries, "Silence is not poetry, it's the gag rule of the oppressed." The tyranny of minds, a kleptocracy of poets. Cross-dressed presidents crawl onto the stage. Applause resounds, rebounds, reverbs with fife and drum as liars lie to liars and the truth on ashes born. Rocked, mock, skittled scorn. See the king, how he's tumbled. And if he asks you, tell him this. It's all a succession of steps and stumbles, steps and stumbles. Mediums, mystics, madmen know the score. Don't give the parson half a chance when he's idling out the door. We're all familiar with the jokes about how women carry everything, including the universe in their purses. And this is called Eleanor's purse. Eleanor's purse held many things. Everyone's prone to the shivers and yips, she says, curating her bag with a passion few possess. This here's for bloating, she'd puff, holding a change of face and coin, one small vial, two orange pills, three sets of 60, four counts of felony, five headaches, six Christmas trees, seven separate somethings, eight triple ply, nine Bowlby marks, 10 turtle doves, 11 sorted mints, 12 novellas, and you lose at least 90 minutes of your life stuck in traffic each day, she'd insist. No stranger to the truth, but not quite its kin either. God wheels without partiality, she notes, handing you a hammer. I'm going to spend the next couple of poems telling you a little bit about myself. And this is called Mama's Meatballs. My uncle was a hitman. His suits so sharp they drew all that spills from the mortal coil. This may be the day the Lord has made, but he didn't make it with us in mind, he says on a gloomy Sunday off Jerome Avenue. He was on his way to meet a guy named Sal, he says, as if I knew one Sal from another. Don't feed the boy any more notions, Mama says, her meatballs musing in a gravy 9 decades down and counting. Let him be a boy, she says, as if she hadn't already told me that men loot rivers and women loot men. And the circle goes round, and the circle goes round, and the circle goes round, my uncle said, his top coat packing, his knife with the sharpest edge at his side, the pull of his hands. Like one of Curry's poems, the title of this is literally the first line of this poem. So it goes like this. The charming ineptness you've taken to heart dates back to the autumn of 1882, when, in the crimson goodness of Trinity Church, the first of my forebearers panned for poetry of gold amid the gilded squalor. Tipsheet Jones moved about the lower borough like a crackling new current that lit up Pearl Street, like the vandal stars falling from God's busy hands. Through the roil and rumble of a city divining, he ran his book and wrote his verse neath a hanging tree, where the warm and waning afternoon light was the golden cast of God's smile. In his bowler and shabby frock, he took his poems to the hometown papers, rashly establishing a down the decades pattern of editorial rejection that leads to me, yours truly, who, as we speak, is weighing rejections one by one by one. When pennies proved few from Waverly readings, Tip took whatever poor boy gigs he could gather, gravedigger, sewer rat, muck diver, and wooed almond-eyed Angelina Francesca into marriage. 3 kids and a lot of talk about better days, workers not loitering, living like thieves, their children without factory fever, the 5 points without blood, without cholera, days when the city would no longer digest its own. My cousin Therese was a cute cupcake who moved like combustion through the rubble of any given day, carrying Beethoven's face in her mother's locket. All body and whiplash, she brought the accelerant to the party, rattled her pots and pans like Romans do in the cheap seats. Oh, clown, you're a stingy lewd, she'd lilt like the ringtone of a ghostwriter who failed to serve his sentence. Our messy grace belies desire, she'd inspire with a pill-shaped confidence, evoking her mother, a bear cat named Emma, who thrived on rumor and cockle shells, kept book of the active verbs employed to broker, bicker, bargain, bet. The heart is our common point of failure, she'd redact, her gidget flip undoing your tweedy tales, her rear view gossip a half-life all its own. A sense of uncertainty increases the odds on even the worst of days, she'd verse. A ball of fire who served no master, cold clown and priest alike. There is so much to tell you about my cousin Therese, who understood her consequence, unlike so many of whom I could speak. This is called Dead Star Paradigm. The worst book I ever read took me years to plagiarize. So blame yourselves if it didn't sell. I attempted conflict, but you shouted me down time and time and time again, like the sad song of trains derailing. The worst book I ever read wasn't a book at all, but a confession by a man who no longer held the line between alliance and scorn, axis and the trackless sky. The worst book I ever read shipped free 2 for 1 after midnight on all the local channels. We all had a hand in the worst book I ever read, each hoarding horsepower, cornmeal, and coin, watching the choppers as they dark the sky. This is called Sideshow. Can't help but get political after a while. If you recall before the torpor, a pariah came to town, hustling his buffoonery, his brand, his virulence, the odious glow of his masquerade hair. They flocked to the commons to finance his garments, bear aloft his moral flag, French kiss the ground he trod upon. But a society like that, like this, can't thrive. Yet the pariah who came to town convinced some otherwise, and here we find ourselves on the dead end of history, where liberty works the glory hole, dark crusades manifest, evolution shrugs her crepey shoulders. A pariah came to town. Thank you. Monday 6, Tuesday fatal, Wednesday 8, Thursday 9, the weekend 10, Monday 12, Thursday 12, Wednesday 6, 13, Thursday, Friday 18, Friday, Saturday 20, Sunday school 40, college Monday, market Tuesday, mailman Wednesday, Thursday Main Street, Friday mosque, Saturday temple, Sunday Mormons, Monday 10, double down Tuesday, double down Wednesday, 14 Thursday, 16 Friday, Saturday plenty, Sunday more, Monday thoughts, Tuesday prayers, Wednesday thoughts, Thursday prayers, Friday 50, Saturday 60, Sunday, Easter Sunday, Nurses Monday, Blue Plate Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday 10. The roof of red knots, North America's most common subspecies, flies the equivalent of the moon and back in its lifetime. Now it faces extinction as we overharvest horseshoe crabs for the terminally corpulent. Tell me again how we are not to blame for everything dying on this planet. Please tell me again. It wasn't clear the first time. I know some of us have reached that age where we count on Post-its to be our memory. So this is called color code. I've outsourced my brain to square colored paper. Blue tomorrows, pink and soft purple lilac missions holding fast upon the fridge. Here's hoping, as they lay me down cold, that all of you gathered here do not turn on me or bewilder the bride with bullshit. We have gathered today because we danced without penance, fused in a chord no army could code, called upon wise men for mercy, called upon women for love. So you see, there are good days and bad days, and then you've got your half shitty days, which I believe most of us will swear to more often than not. Half shitty days really have no point of start or departure. Maybe you wake up feeling grand, but soon step in cat puke. Maybe a car hits a skunk just in front of your house. Perhaps you drop the soap in the shower and whack your head on the towel bar. Maybe the ride to work smooths things out, but the job sucks. And what? 8 hours of suck? Sounds like a good porno movie, but really, who's going to last that long? All right, okay, so lunch breaks the monotony. and the jazz blows blue on NPR. But soon you drop a hammer on your foot. The fly in the ointment drowns in your coffee, and it's a shitty day again. And just like that, you're caught in a traffic home. No one uses their signals, so you almost rear end the bastard in front of you. That anxiety wears off when from out of nowhere comes a kid in his daddy's caddy cutting you off, flipping you the finger as he heads off to produce another illegitimate that you know will someday pick your pocket somewhere else in time. But up ahead is home and all is well. You hope. Who knows? Maybe your better halves had a whole bad day, and when compared to your half shitty one, well, who knows? Maybe they've had a good day, and that sunshine will make your half shitty day really a quarter of a shitty day. Who knows? Who knows when shitty days become one or the other, good or bad? Who knows? Maybe that's the chore of living. Thank you. If I gave a damn, I'd finish the poem you commissioned, but I haven't the energy to concoct so elaborate a lie about you, blue dice and squirrel, barrel-assing down a swollen Mississippi to save Blind Boy Jim's 27 National from foreclosure and your morally preposterous escape route. How unsettling to know I beg your fiction. Explain myself with your errant words. You know, we quote people from the past, but I mean, unless we were there, unless it's like within the last 60, 70, 80, 90 years, I mean, do we really know if these people really said these things? But that's besides the point. Anyway, this begins with a quote from Napoleon, and it's called, "What if history, if not a fable agreed upon?" If I should get caught in the crossfire before finishing this poem, will you dovetail our voices together? If I should bleed out before topping off, please keep the truth we carried into the war that threatens to silence the words we use to shorten the distance between us. I'm just going to do a few more. Um, we all wake up in the morning sometimes with that song in our head, and it's like, oh God, how the hell did it get there? And this is called Like a Kid's Toy Without a Battery. Dancing Queen sneaks up on me, and soon I'm tumbling like a kid's toy without a battery into the confessional with a story to tell and no time to really tell it. So I cut corners, delete the moments before the earworms got the best of me. Just imagine if word got around that a cool guy like me sang Staying Alive while sudsing his privates in a room where me and Mrs. Jones just so happened to cohabitate. In the year of the cat, where we built this city, Jackie Blue. In any book of Manhattan dreams, shadows slant on Crooked Street. St. Peter loiters the cashier's cage. Your rifle's only as good as your scope. The hungry open fire, not wine. Three more. The whereabouts of heaven. I was building a skyscraper when I ran out of sky and cozied up to the whereabouts of heaven. Above our false hosannas, way up in the clouds where no one speaks, but everyone, and I do mean everyone, sings beautifully and in tune. Above the movement of money, gunfights and late stage cancer, grade school body counts and shots per round. Up there, in the blue beyond wonder, where tomorrow threatens no one, where angels woo the glade. We've all cooked rice and we've gotten it all over everything that exists because that's just what rice does. And this is called Dad's Old Cudgel. Whether cooked at home, jasmine bomba, or ordered in, pork fried sticky, rice defies gravity. It just does. Put a spoon, fork, ladle into grandma's moonstone bowl, and a handful of wild grain is going to scatter to the counter, the floor, your negligee, dad's old cudgel, a boreal peel off, parboiled sweet on the wall, stuck to the spoon, the sponge, of course. You clean up, but there's more glutinous short grain over there by the teapot 6 feet away. The cat has rice. The dog has rice. The parakeet has rice. Rice splashback wall. Buffy's teacup. Basmati, baby, all over the goddamn place. I want to thank Susanna, Carrie, Judy. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming today. This will be my last piece, and it's called Next Line. If it all ends before the next line, that's okay. I've gone the distance with little regret, little complaint, little in the way of stumbling blocks that have baffled so many. If it all ends before the next line, tell them I meant every word. Thanks, everybody.
Mm. Wow, Mike, thank you. Such wild and wonderful work, so rich. Thank you. Now's the time to put your
Thank you,
comments
Suzanne.
in the chat.
This is
And
Emily.
hi, Emily. And
Thank you, Doc.
we will move on to our open mic. And our first open mic